Alright, well, I have to call out Channel 1 again because I am just really disgusted that they're not talking about stories regarding animals that need to be covered. And do you want to call me an animal lover? Okay, I will admit, Curtis Lewa last year did convince me about a lot of animal rights issues when he was, in fact, running for mayor last year. And I am just really disgusted by Channel 1 that they're not talking about the horse that collapsed in Hell's Kitchen yesterday. It's just ridiculous. It's just completely ridiculous. I am so disgusted. I am just really disgusted what's going on here. I don't understand. Nothing on the headlines? I mean, my goodness. I mean, a horse collapsed in Hell's Kitchen yesterday. How can you not cover that? Neighbors push congestion pricing, yeah, because the Midtown people don't. I just don't. I don't understand this. I really don't. I'm just truly and beyond disgusted looking at the headlines. It's just ridiculous. And no, we're not going to watch it in the papers because they're not going to talk about it. So, I'm sorry if I'm showing the horse down, but the good news is this horse actually was okay. The horse did get up. We were covering it a little bit yesterday when we had the breaking news regarding the dog that was killed in Prospect Park. And, I really think the PETA needs to call out Channel 1. I really think they need to because at this point, you know, a lot of animal rights activists need to complain about Spectrum not talking about this because this is why I am in full support now of banning the horse carriages in Central Park. De Blasio, the finger should be pointed at you. You claimed that you were going to get rid of these horses in Central Park, but no. Another lie that you claimed that you were going to do and you never did. And that was the one thing that I agreed with de Blasio on. And especially Curtis Lewa wanted to do the same thing. I want the horses gone. Not just because of this, but get rid of the horse poop in Central Park already. It's disgusting. It really, really is. So let's read what happened. A carriage horse collapsed onto a Midtown street last night, crowing in crowded spectators and a team of police officers who hosed it off with water before getting it back on its feet. The incident occurred at 5 p.m. yesterday, Wednesday, August 10th, when a 14-year-old male horse named Ryder collapsed at 42nd Street and 9th Avenue. And, oh, funny enough, I was actually a block away from that location on Tuesday. Videos taken by eyewitnesses showed Ryder lying motionless on the street as officers sprayed him with a hose bottle before he slowly stood back up on his feet and was carted away. Sean Figdanen was on his dinner break in the area when he encountered the scene as officers were just screening the horse. So, yeah, I mean, this is the problem. It was still humid on yesterday. I mean, I will admit that, and this is from previous experience, it was humid. Even yesterday. I mean, I was glad I got all my shopping done on Monday. I took care of all my grocery shopping before the peak of the heat on Monday. So, it's just crazy. I'm glad I didn't leave the building yesterday when I was working, but my goodness. So we're not going to really play the video because it's disturbing, but I am just so disgusted that, again, Channel 1 could really care less about this. I am just really disgusted. And again, this is something interesting. Back in 2019, the city council did pass legislation for horses to be on the street. So it was, of course. The temperature wasn't even 90 yesterday. It was, I think, 86. So, of course, Eric Adams is just going to stay silent. And again, I really wish that these horses would go away. It's just inhumane what's going on with the horses. I've been saying for a while, that, look, you know, the real reason, I've said this to people, the real reason why I want the horse carriages gone is because I want Central Park to be a lot cleaner. And with the horse poop being around the park, sometimes the horses will poop while you're riding in Central Park South. I've been on Central Park South numerous times before I've gone to the park at Columbus Circle. It's just truly disgusting to see horse poop on Central Park South for the Plaza Hotel. You know, it's disgusting. The horses don't belong in Manhattan. They really don't. Oh, poor horse. You know, you should really be... I'm talking to the horse directly. You should be at a ranch somewhere in New Jersey or upstate or Long Island where you belong, where you can run free, where you can poop wherever you want. Not in Manhattan. No. Stop making Central Park South dirty enough as it already is. Alright? I don't want to see West 59th dirty as it is already. Alright? I know I'm complaining about it, but the horses need to be banned. The horses need to be banned. And I know, again, Curtis Lewa said he was thinking about banning them, and I was completely for it, because Curtis understood why I was getting upset with all the horse poop around Central Park. And given that Curtis literally lives on the Upper West Side, right by Central Park, he understood what I was talking about. So, it's just disturbing, man. This gets me so upset. And the fact that, again, Channel 1 is so blatant to ignore this just shows their real true colors. Now, I am glad they did cover what happened in Queens, but guess what, folks? We have a much bigger problem in the Bronx. In fact, let's go on to News 12 The Bronx website and see that awful story regarding the teenager shot and killed last night. See, now I'm glad that OBS has that pause feature. I really, really am glad. And also, the blatant fact that Channel 1 is ignoring the drought. I mean, all of this is disturbing, folks. I'm going to play this after we talk about the shooting in the Bronx, because, my goodness, how could Channel 1 ignore the homicide in the Bronx? Because I was watching 4 and 7 this afternoon. 4 and 7 did a good job covering it, but no, not New York 1. No, not them, because sorry. Let's talk about congestion pricing. Oh, we love to talk about Trump. We love to talk about Dan Goldman. That's Channel 1 in a nutshell. That's Channel 1 in a nutshell. Meanwhile, I am so glad that News 12 The Bronx did the right thing and actually covered this. So let's see. How long did they spend on the story? Yep, 2 minutes! 2 minutes! They actually sent a reporter over there. So let's actually watch News 12 The Bronx.
The NYPD commissioner is calling a tragedy. A 14-year-old killed in a shooting here in our borough. Let's get to News 12's Anthony Carlo with the latest.
That's right, Christy. Well, right now we're outside of the home of 14-year-old Jacob Bourbon, who sadly
Okay, I don't know what's going on. Let me rewind this.
We're continuing to investigate what the NYPD commissioner is calling.
That's right, Christy. Well, right now we're outside of the home of 14-year-old Jacob Bourbon, who sadly lost his life because of a gun early this morning. Now, it's very quiet here in Somber, as you can imagine, and just moments ago we actually saw detectives leaving the victim's home, and we ran into a person who appeared to be a loved one in tears, who told us, in fact, police were inside talking to Jacob's family. Now, at this time, it's quiet here, but this shooting actually happened about 15 minutes away from here, and we want to show you some video of what that scene looked like, because it's a lot more active. There are still police there. This is at Valentine Avenue and Briggs Avenue, as well as East 194th Street in that area. Officers were called to the scene and found that teenager, Jacob Bourbon, with a gunshot wound to his chest around 1 this morning. Bourbon was pronounced pronounced dead at St. Barnabas Hospital. The investigation by police revealing so far that the teenager was shot in the lobby of 237 East 194th Street, and again, he lived about a 15-minute drive away from there. Police Commissioner Keyshawn Sewell tweeting out that detectives are working tirelessly to investigate this tragic shooting, and that there's a lot of pain and in that community, of course, seeing another shooting happen. Now, as we mentioned, over here where Jacob lives in Allerton, there has not been much activity, but we did see detectives leave his home just moments ago after we are told that they were speaking to Jacob's family. A lot of questions still need answers at this.
So there you go. I mean, look at News 12 The Bronx. They were actually on scene live covering this. So I gotta give News 12 The Bronx credit. They were live. So, let's see. It says here that it happened at 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, this is just really disturbing. A 14-year-old kid. 14-year-old kid. Just shows what Channel 1 really cares about. Now, what we are going to do is I want to actually pause this video. So what we're going to do right now, let's see, can I make this bigger? Oh, okay, excellent. I can make this a lot bigger. Look at this. Look at this. Brooklyn under a drought. So you know what we're going to do? Let's actually use my little draw thing. And let's make the color brown. Can we make the color brown, maybe? I think we might be able to. Let's see. I might be able to make the color brown. Okay, excellent. We're able to make the color brown. Okay. So let's do a little bit of an analogy here, shall we? So this, let's draw it a little bit. Let's do Brooklyn for an example. We'll start off from there. This is where the drought is right now. And this is so disturbing to think that this is going all the way to Lynbrook and Long Island, basically. I mean, how could Channel 1 ignore this? This is a much bigger problem. I know the violence is one thing, but let's draw another example. Let's start from scratch, okay? And what we're going to do now is put the draw thing back. Ooh, how do I get rid of this? Oh, okay, I can do erase salt. Perfect. So let's do my parents' friends in Mill Basin. They know who they are. They watch my videos when I've called out Channel 1 numerous times. So let's say hi to my parents' friends right now. Let's give a shout out to Mill Basin. So Mill Basin right now, I'll show you where it is. It's somewhere around here. Look at the brown, folks. And my parents' friends are not joking. They've told me, in Mill Basin this year, they have barely got any rain. Barely. The last time I saw them in Syosset, because they go to Long Island a lot from Brooklyn. They do. And, you know, it's just disturbing how bad the weather has gotten. It's just beyond me. Okay, so what we're going to do now is let's pull up QNS.com. So here we go. We're going to pull up QNS.com and just take a look at some of the news that's been ignored in Queens. Now, again, Channel 1 did do a good job. They did do a good job. There have been a lot of motor vehicle accidents that have been happening in Queens. And, oh, this is the first I'm finding out about Woodside, so we'll get to that. We'll get to that, believe me. Okay, here we go. There's so much disturbing crime going on. So, yes, okay. So, what I'm going to actually do is talk about the shooting that happened, yeah, in fact, my buddy in Bayside was wondering about the other shooting in Jamaica as well. So, you know what? Before it gets called out by Senor Jamaica Avenida, he knows who he is. We're not gonna give him enough attention as it already is. So, let's talk about what's going on in Senor Jamaica Avenida's neighborhood. Alright, so that way, if he decides to call me out, I'll have reasonable doubt that maybe he'll be fair to me for once. Let's see. So here we go. Two teenagers shot outside McDonald's in, my bad, in Jamaica Avenida. There we go. Now I'm saying it in Spanish. I'm nailing my Spanish correctly, folks. So here we go. Two teenagers were shot outside of a McDonald's in Jamaica yesterday afternoon on August 10th. And I know exactly where this McDonald's is. It's right across the street from the movie theater. The 103rd Precinct received a call at about 2:39 p.m. regarding a 16-year-old male shot in the torso and a 17-year-old male shot in the torso, right arm and right shoulder outside the McDonald's, located at 159-01 Jamaica Avenue within the confines of the 103rd Precinct. Okay, this is interesting. So according to the Queen's Courier, the 16-year-old was taken to L.I.J. Cohen's Children's. Okay, that's an epic fail. This should say L.I.J. Cohen's Children's Hospital because this is a pediatric patient. And remember, I work at Long Island Jewish. The 17-year-old was taken to Booth Memorial Medical Center in Flushing. Wow. So the 17-year-old was taken to the pediatric center at Booth. And I've actually did some custodian work in the pediatric center a couple years ago. No, that was before COVID, but you know. Both are listed in stable condition. Okay, that's the good news. Oh no. This is bad, folks. According to the report, the teenagers do not want to cooperate with the 103rd Precinct. So it's just going to make things a lot worse. It's just going to make things a lot worse. You know, please, you know, if the police are asking you to cooperate, please do so. Because you may be abiding a criminal and you may get arrested after you get out of the hospital. So the teenagers really need to wake up and realize while they're in their hospital beds, once they get out of the hospital, they may end up going to jail for not cooperating with the police. So that's a very scary thought right there. These teenagers, man, they're being reckless. They're really being reckless. So it's just disturbing that this happened. But again, it's Jamaica. No surprise, because Jamaica has problems as usual. Okay, so for my friend in Bayside, I know he was asking me about this because he actually is one of my followers on Instagram. And if you do want to follow me, I am at Andy's Randomness, so it's easy to find my profile. Just look for me with the Union Turnpike sign. But in all reality, yes. Here's an update from AM New York, which is the parent company of Schleps Media, Queen's Courier. So here's what we know. Police released harrowing video Tuesday morning of a shootout in a residential block the day before that left the 17-year-old boy injured. So this is what we know. Law enforcement sources said the brazen shooting happened at 5:01 p.m. on August 8th in front of a home on 118th Avenue near 157th Street in South Jamaica. As shown in the footage, 4 male suspects, all of them were wearing masks and hooded sweatshirts, walked on the sidewalk and spotted the 17-year-old victim off camera, who was their apparent target. 2 of the perps pulled out handguns and began firing at the teen, who pulled out a gun of his own and returned fire, causing the group of males to backpedal. The 2 sides exchanged gunshots as unseen driver inside a black sedan passed through the area. So it says here, the group's target meanwhile managed to flee the scene but suffered a gunshot wound to his right thigh. Okay, this is interesting. So it says here that the teenager was taken to Cohen's Children's Hospital. Wow. So this is very interesting. The pediatric department at Long Island Jewish has certainly been a lot more busy these days, which isn't, it's not really a surprise. But listen, you know, God forbid that, you know, you're a parent and you have a kid and something goes on. Trust me, you're better off going to Cohen's because they have one of the best emergency rooms for pediatric patients in the whole country. The incident was reported to the 113, and detectives are still searching for the group of male suspects, each of whom were described by police as teenagers with dark complexions and slim builds. So, we do have a video of the incident, and again, I did show this to everybody on my Instagram story a couple days ago. So, obviously, the gun was drawn, and look at that. 2 guns! 2 guns! I mean, my goodness, where's the NYPD's weapons detective narcotics? Nowhere to be found since de Blasio cut their funding. And I used to know a detective who was part of the weapons narcotics unit. It's disturbing. It really, really is. Okay, so let's get into the other news that we do have to talk about in Queens. So here we go. Ridgewood. Thankfully, the good thing was Channel 1 was actually live in Ridgewood last night. And I will give them credit. They did lead up the 10 o'clock newscast with it last night. So here's what we know. This happened yesterday afternoon. A 2021 Dodge Durango at Wyckoff Avenue and George Street. So, a woman and her daughter were struck by a hit-and-run driver following a routine traffic stop. Chaos ensued when the officers discovered the driver had a suspended license and ordered him from the vehicle. The driver then hit the gas pedal instead and struck the 28-year-old mother who was pushing a 2-year-old girl in a stroller. 35-year-old man was also injured during the incident. EMS removed the 3 victims to Wyckoff Hospital, where the mother was treated for her knee injury and the daughter was treated for a wrist injury. The 3rd victim had a leg injury. Okay, this is interesting. Alright, that was the right thing by police. The driver did speed off from the scene and police did not chase the suspect in order to aid the victims. Thankfully, the good news is the Dodge Durango was later found. So that's excellent. So that is part of the investigation. So, meanwhile, the suspect's still on the run. But you gotta understand, the police actually did the right thing. They actually did not chase the suspect. Because remember, the police had to aid the injured victims because they had to wait for the ambulance to show up. So that's normal protocol. Okay, now let's talk about what happened in Woodside. So here's what we know. I think Channel 7 did cover this. Oh, I was in this area on Tuesday. Yep. Funny enough, I was actually passing the street on the QM5 on Tuesday. 42-year-old Diego Sesta of Lamont Avenue in Elmhurst was riding eastbound on the Queens Boulevard service road just after 6 a.m. when he crashed into a box truck and lost control of the bike. Sesta was thrown into the roadway, according to a spokesperson from the NYPD. Police from the 108th and Long Island City arrived on the scene and found Sesta with severe body trauma. EMS responded to the crash site in front of the Big Six Towers at 59-55 47th Avenue. Victim was taken to NYC Health Elmhurst Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. So, there is further details from the Highway District Collision Squad. It says here that Mr. Sesta was traveling along Queens Boulevard. He failed to properly navigate the roadway and made contact with the side of a box truck which was traveling next to him. The motorcyclist went under the truck and was sequentially struck further by the vehicle. The driver of the box truck remained on the scene. There were no arrests. So, further investigation. So, let's see what else we have to read here. Because, oh, this is unfortunate. So, we're going to have to read a couple more. Just a second. Let me organize this. Road rage in Corona. Okay, so I guess I might want to read that one first. Actually, never mind. Let's actually read this one first. I actually have to abide by my Passengers United obligations. So I do have to read this one. Let's see. I don't think I read this one. Oh, yeah, we read this one. We read this one. I believe we read this one. Okay. It's so hard to keep an eye on all the stuff going on. It just really, really is. But again, I have to keep my focus on Queens because there's a lot going on in my borough. So, let's read the North Corona rage incident. So we're going to read 3 more articles to wrap up this video. So let's read what happened in Corona. So this is what we know. This happened in North Corona. Okay. The attack occurred just after 4 p.m. on Friday, August 5th. The suspect began arguing with a driver who was blocking the road in front of 32-37 112th Street with his van. The assailant got out of his car and allegedly broke the victim's driver's side window with his fist and then slashed him on the elbow with a knife, causing a minor laceration. The suspect took off in a white Nissan Rogue in an unknown direction. So, we do have a suspect description. The man was last seen wearing a white t-shirt, red shorts, and white sneakers. So, again, this is what goes on in New York City. Yeah, they had to blur it out because of the license plate. Yeah, it's so hard to tell what happened. No, this is very grainy. It kind of is, so... At least they have an idea, the Crime Stoppers, who they're looking for, but... Hang on, did I close out of one of the articles? So hopefully I can find the... Yeah, okay, good. We have it. So, 2 more articles. Long Island City. What happened here, you may be wondering. Hit-and-run driver man has passed away from his injuries. Brendan Marmelos, age 30, of 30th Avenue in Astoria, succumbed to his head injuries last Wednesday. 2 weeks ago. Wednesday, July 27th at NYC Bellevue Hospital. NYC Health Bellevue Hospital. Okay. So, an SUV struck the motorized scooter on Wednesday, July 20th. Marmolejos was trying to cross at 44th Drive and Vernon Boulevard. Yep, that's definitely Long Island City. When he was struck by a black Porsche SUV allegedly driven by Dwayne Boval of 116th Street in Richmond Hill, who drove off. Boval turned himself in 2 days later and was charged with leaving the scene of an accident with serious injuries. However, that charge is expected to be upgraded to a homicide. So, no surprise there. And then lastly, robbery in Rockaway Beach. Jewelry robbery. Here we go. Authorities say that the Oh yeah, this is definitely in the 100. Authorities say the 22-year-old victim arranged to meet a man at 4:30 p.m. on Friday, July 29th in front of 260 Beach 81st Street to sell pieces of jewelry from his online business. The suspect asked to look at jewelry and then pulled out a handgun and demanded the victim's property. The suspect then took 4 watches, 2 iPhones, and the victim's wallet containing credit cards, and he drove off in the victim's 2021 Nissan, which was later recovered. Officers from the 100 in Rockaway Beach reported no injuries as a result of the robbery, and all of the stolen merchandise was valued all at approximately $24,000. Wow. So, we have a surveillance video. Crime Stoppers describes the victim as a man, the suspect as a man in his early 20s with a dark complexion, thin build, with black hair and a short ponytail. So, he's last seen wearing a black t-shirt over a white t-shirt, black jeans, white Nike Jordan sneakers, and a yellow chain around his neck. So, there we go again with Channel 1, clearly ignoring the news that should be covered, but you know what goes on with them. They're in their own little world. And look at this! Mr. New York Has Left Me actually makes the front page of Channel 1! This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Who cares about him? I don't. I thought he was out of our lives for good, but the ghost is coming back to haunt us. So again, Channel 1, you really have the nerve of ignoring major animal abuse stories? Well, as long as they're going on, and I find out about them, I'm going to talk about it. Because that's what at least Curtis Lever would want me to do. Alright? We have to stand up for the animals. Alright? Because they're very vulnerable. They can't talk like we can. Alright? We have to take care of our pets. Alright? I made sure Teddy on hot days when he was around was always under the air conditioner. I even kept the air conditioner on. Sure, my Con Ed bill went up, but that was because I cared too much about my dog. He always slept in the kitchen so that way he would have access to go to the restroom at night. And he at least would want to get a sip of water, but, you know, because that's what he liked doing in the middle of the night. I was always used to hearing his paws and drinking water, but, yeah. You know, you have to stand up for the animals. Channel 1, shame on you. You're going to keep getting called out. Because your behavior is getting really out of hand. So that's it. And remember, folks, stand up for the animals. Again, they can't speak up like we can. We have to take care of them.